Lisa,
Hello.
how are you?
All good, thanks. And you?
I'm awesome. Thank you very much. So we've got a few people on our live on Facebook, so they're watching. So guys, welcome to another session of interviews with entrepreneurs. Today we're chatting to Lisa Oosthuizen, who's the founder and CEO of Setup Sidekick. And she's going to tell us a bit more about her company. But she's also going to tell us about her journey from corporate through to actually becoming an entrepreneur. And we're also going to be discussing stepping out of the box. And Lisa's going to tell us a bit more about that and what she's doing now. In addition to this, we've actually got a nice gift giveaway as well at the end that Lisa's actually willing to part with. So, and it's free, so you're not paying for it. So yeah, Lisa, welcome. And let's give some context first. What is Setup Sidekick? First, tell us, what is Setup Sidekick?
Yeah, it does sound a little vague, doesn't it?
Yes.
Setup Sidekick is basically my own business. And what I do with Setup Sidekick is I help you set up all of your tech and courses and whatever it is that you need to do. Because I find that that's the thing that most people struggle with. And that's my strength, is helping people get set up on whatever it is they're wanting to do. Hence the name, Setup Sidekick. I'm your sidekick in getting your course set up.
I actually love the name, and I think it's so relevant because so many of us, that do courses and that the tech side for us takes forever. Having to try and master those skills, and it's everything relating to that. It's not just the technical aspect, but it's the graphics and it's all the other things that need to go together and how it fits together and integration. I think it's so important. But let's take a step back, right? So, I've obviously known you for, 18, 19, almost 20 years. And so you come from corporate. You come from training, you come from tech. So tell us about that journey and how you actually became an entrepreneur. So where you come from and, how and why did you become an entrepreneur?
Okay, sure. Like you said, I've been in corporate for many, many years. I think it was 20 years when I left. And I always felt like I fit in quite well, but I got bored very quickly. So for me, that was my biggest problem. Is sure, I fit into the little box quite well, but I didn't want to stay in that box, the same box, for 20 years. And luckily for me, I worked for a company that allowed me to move into different roles. But at the time, I thought there was something wrong with me. Sure, I got along with all my colleagues. I was happy in corporates. I was learning new things, new skills, and I was allowed to try out different roles. But I thought there was something wrong with me, what was wrong with me that I couldn't sit and do one job for very long without getting bored. And I always thought that was a fault within me, but it turns out that it's not a fault. It's actually a strength, because there are people like me who are multi-passionate. There's a TED talk by a lady called Emily Wapniak, I'm not sure of her name. And when I watched her talk, it was like I'd been hit by a thunderbolt. I finally realized that there's nothing wrong with me, that there are lots of people like me, and it's pretty normal to have multiple interests in different things, and not want to do one job for the whole, your entire life. And that's when I decided that maybe it's time for me to step out of that box, out of that corporate box where I'm forced to do a particular role for a company, and do my own thing, and have the flexibility to follow my passions and try new things and learn new skills. So that's what the stepping out of the box is all about, is that you don't have to sit in that corporate box. You can step out and become an entrepreneur.
And coming from corporate, you come from quite a big, international company. You were well looked after,
Yeah.
They're awesome people, and then stepping out into an entrepreneur space. That's like 180-degree flip. That's like a completely different way of working, lifestyle, everything. How hard was it to adjust to that entrepreneurial environment as opposed to what you were in?
Yeah, look, in the beginning, it was very tough because I'm used to having a boss telling me what to do and used to having like guidelines of, you stick to this creative direction. And for me, being, moving out of that space and having all this freedom was suddenly, it got a bit overwhelming. And also stepping out of it, a 9 to 5, you take your hour commute to work, you get to work, there's a meeting or whatever, and then you do your daily tasks, and then you go home. That structure was no longer there. So that I found for me was the biggest challenge. All the freedom and all of the options available to me to be able to do. So just a little tip that I found for me with when it comes to stepping out of the routine is you still need to get up at the same time in the morning. You still need to get dressed. You still, getting out of bed and in your pajamas and then heading over to your laptop. There's no structure. It's chaos. It's actually you get a little depressed if you do that. Yeah. So if you are going to transition from a corporate role into becoming your own person, your own business, try and keep some kind of structure, because otherwise you will feel down and it affects everything. Put on some clothes, have some breakfast, sit down at your laptop, and then start your day.
I must say, you're probably not missing the meetings, though.
No, definitely not.
I mean, in corporate, you've got a meeting to discuss why you need to have a meeting, and then another meeting to discuss the agenda for that meeting. And so at least you missed that, that part.
And that is one of the benefits of being an entrepreneur, is you choose the meetings you have to have.
You have it with yourself, and you kind of agree with yourself. So
exactly.
I certainly love that. Now, I mean, when you started as an entrepreneur, I mean, Setup Sidekick wasn't your first, focus point, Yeah. I mean, you had another business beforehand, which you then pivoted and turned into with Setup Sidekick. Let's talk a bit about that. What I want to focus on is the pivoting, Okay. What was the reason for the pivot, and how did you manage with that pivot? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, and the reason I ask is a lot of entrepreneurs are like, I need to change direction, but I'm scared to change direction. So what ends up happening is they stay in that space, and then ultimately what ends up happening is there's that hard, you hit the ledge, and then suddenly it's way down. You fail. Yeah. Right? I mean, you kind of chose the right moment to pivot, at the end of the day. So just talk to us about that.
Well, before I left corporate, like I said, I'd been involved in lots of different roles. So I picked up a whole lot of different skills. And while I was working in corporate, I also ran a little side business, a wedding videography business. So I was picking up other skills as I was going along while in my corporate role. So when I decided to leave corporate, my initial intention was, because I was a marketer within the corporate role, was to step into just doing marketing for other businesses, because that's what I was used to. And when I initially left, I actually started a little business with 3 other people, 3 colleagues who left at the same time. And it didn't really work. We worked we had the business for about 2 years. And it just, like I said, I need to feel passionate about what I'm doing. And it just never took off. But towards the end, I decided that I can't do this with other people. I need to figure it out on my own, because we're all figuring it out. None of us have been entrepreneurs before. We were all figuring it out. But I just felt that I could do it myself and find my way myself. And that's when I decided to pivot. So I moved from what I'd been used to, from corporate in marketing in corporate, I moved into marketing for my own little business. And then I decided that maybe marketing wasn't my main strength, because I had all these other skills that people needed that I wasn't using with the marketing material that I was creating. So I brought in I actually just sat down and I thought to myself, what are my strengths? What are my skills? What are my strengths? And what do I actually want to do? Because it has to be a marketable skill when you're starting a business. You have to offer something that's marketable to your audience. And you also have to have something that you enjoy doing. So don't just go, you don't just create a business to keep other people happy. It's to keep you happy as well. So those were the three things I looked at. I looked at my strengths, my skills, and what people are looking for and what I wanted to do.
But that's quite hard because I mean you've got such a broad range of skills. I mean you got like you can do website developments and stuff. You've got a very technical background. You do great graphic design stuff, and then I mean you do course creation because I mean you used to teach. I mean you were you were an instructor, and you were like a masterclass instructor for corporate. So I mean that's quite a broad range of skills. So how did you pick that focus?
Exactly. That was my biggest struggle, is because I had this long list of things that I can do. And then I had a look around and who would need all of those skills most. And I decided that course creators would need all of those skills most. I mean, I've got the instructional background, I've got the creatives, I've got the technical background. So
and you know how to put the content together and all of that, the flow that students want to see stuff in as well.
So all of those skills suited course creators the most. And because I get bored if I do something too often, I mean, I could have just picked web design or web development, but I would have been bored within a couple of months. So with course creation, I get to do all of the things that I enjoy doing. I have a nice variety of things to do. And I help out course creators because they don't need to learn all of those skills. They just come to me and say, I need this, 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 and this, and I can do all of it, instead of them having to go to different people, like a web designer for the website part and a video editor for the videos. I can do all of that for them. So that was for me the best choice.
That's nice because it's a broad range of skills. So you don't get, like you were saying, is you've got multiple passions, that you can actually focus and say, okay, well, there's video editing, and then there's, course creation, and then there's tech, and then there's, all these other things. So I think it kind of fits in quite nicely from that perspective. And I think also, given that if we look at the online learning environment, I read a stat the other day that online learning currently generates just over $1 billion per day. In terms of
absolutely,
people, that is the second biggest industry in the world at the moment is online courses. I mean, that is phenomenal. It's wow.
And it's just boomed since 2020. I mean, it's done a steep upward climb. And there are benefits and there's good parts and bad parts about that. It's sure there's lots of people creating courses and there's lots of nice new material going out of there. There's also a lot of junk. There's also a lot of rubbish courses that people just throw things together and throw them out to make a quick buck. Like I said, sure, it's booming, but it's not always a good thing.
So let's actually chat about that, because I mean, and I'm just kind of going off track here, but I think that's quite important, because a lot of people tell you, they create these quick online courses, right, that sell for $9 or $47 or $97 or whatever it is, right? I mean, it's generally not over $100. It's anything under $100, right? And it's always about, okay, this is what you need to do. But nobody is telling you, how do I do that? Yeah, I know what to do. I can Google that. So, I can read a blog and kind of find that out. And I'm doing this course and I was going to spend, generally they're like 3-4 hours or whatever the case is, or an hour, half an hour even, go through this thing and it just teaches you what you must do. Do you find that that's actually like a recurring theme with these people that are releasing courses really fast?
Yeah, that's something that's been taught by a lot of marketing gurus. That is a strategy. That is a get people to warm up to you, to buy into more of your things. So you release a quick $27 course, like you say, something small that's a couple of hours of video or whatever it is. It tells people what they need to do. And then the strategy is that they go through this course and then they realize, oh, I don't actually know how to do this thing. So then they buy your next course, which teaches you how to. So it's a strategy, and sometimes there's value in it, but often there's not much value in it.
I think it
So
gives kind of a bad rep, doesn't it?
It does. That's the problem, because it can be a really great strategy. It can be a very helpful thing. So if you teach something quite actionable in that little $27 course, then it's definitely worthwhile. So maybe the first step in being able to do a whatever, the first step on how to create a website, for example. And then your next course can teach them how to make it look better or whatever, So it can be a really great strategy, but so many people are doing it wrong.
I think if people are open with that in the beginning to say, okay, this is the first course, like for instance, this is planning as an example, and the next one's implementation and management and optimization or something along those lines, then at least people are aware of it up front, and then they don't have a problem spending the $47 for the initial course, and then doing the other courses after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I created my courses, and I wanted to steer away from the what. I wanted to focus only on the how,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with doing that, and the challenge that I found, and I mean, you can maybe comment in here if you have this with your other clients, is that kind of course, because it's so intensive and it's so detailed, right? That's not a course you're going to buy for $27, like you say. I mean, these kind of courses cost, $400, $500, $1,000, $2,000, at the end of the day. I mean, do you see that that's kind of the average trend within the industry?
Yeah, look, if you're going to do a course and you're going to do it properly and you're going to teach the how, then absolutely, it has to be at a premium rate. You cannot be creating a quality course and then putting it out there for less than $100. It's just not worth your while. It's not worth anyone's while, actually, because people who buy the course are, when they, it's like the freebie seekers. When you don't connotate some kind of value with something, it means less to you. So you might buy the course and think, oh, well, it was only $100 or whatever it was. I don't really need to go through all of this.
You don't really complete it either.
Yeah. So you're not doing anyone a service by offering it cheaply, to either to yourself or to the people who are buying your course. So if you are going to put together something like your courses, and it teaches you exactly everything that you need to do on a specific topic, you'd be much better off putting a premium price on it rather than the little $27, $47.
Yeah, but the kind of challenge that I see is, obviously my courses are about Facebook marketing, right? So it teaches, everything from planning, management, optimization, implementation, all of that. But, people look at it and say, yeah, but I can buy this course for $27 somewhere else. And I'm like, well, then go ahead. What I'm doing is I'm kind of showing it screen by screen. Watch what I'm doing and follow along while so I'm actually doing what I'm teaching at the end of the day, whereas the other courses aren't. But how do you manage that kind of perception, in your view? Should that kind of perception be managed in the beginning? Because I mean, so many people are thinking, oh yeah, but I can go buy it for $9 or $27 or whatever the case is. How do you manage that?
Yeah, that's where copywriting comes in. So your copywriting needs to be very specific and tell people exactly what they're getting with your offer, what the benefits of your offer are. So yeah, it's going to be all in your marketing to communicate that value. And if people aren't seeing that value when you're selling your course, and people aren't completing it or taking it, then you need to go back to your copy and change that to match what your offer is, to show the value, to teach people the value of what they're getting. And also, there are different kinds of courses for different people. Some people might just need a high-level thing. I'm actually writing a book at the moment, and in my book, I discuss all the different kinds of courses that you can create. And there's about 12 different kinds of courses. Just to give you an idea, you can run a challenge, you can create a mini course, you can create a full-blown signature course that goes from end to end on a topic. You can have a membership course. You can have, there's another one that is great for service providers like myself. I provide a service, a done-for-you service for people. You can create a cohort-based course. So what a cohort-based course is, where you teach people something, but it's kind of like going to school. You have a group of classmates who start all at the same time as you. It's very hands-on. They're workshops. You work your way through with your colleagues people who've taken the course at the same time as you. You build connections. So there's different. I mean, the price tag for a cohort-based course versus a mini challenge is massive. So yeah, your type of course and the amount of information and assistance you're providing needs to match your price tag.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought recently a course, and that, and I mean, it was just over $2,000, you know, at the end of the day. I mean, I'm only halfway through the thing. Is it worthwhile so far? Hell yeah. You know, so there's definitely value in terms of that. So I got a comment from Jean, and she says, and this is on Facebook, have also spent over $1,000 on a course that was too content heavy, and it was just too much. There is a fine balance. Now, it's that balance I want to kind of talk about.
Absolutely.
What's your
you don't want
advice
to overwhelm. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to overwhelm people. You want to make. I honestly feel you should put a higher price tag on something that explains the fastest route from A to Z, rather than give them a whole lot of information that is actually not. It's a kind of a twisted, winded path. Give them the shortest direction, the shortest path from A to Z. And you can put a premium price on that, because time is money. People don't want to be spending months on a course that could have taken them 2 weeks, for example. And they'll put a premium. They'll pay a premium for a course that takes them on that journey in 2 weeks, rather than a couple of months.
I think that's where I kind of like, like Evergreen Courses, which is the way I did mine, is people can do it at their own pace. And each module, what I've done is I've kind of broken it down into 5-10 minute segments, so that you're not sitting there for 30 minutes or an hour trying to watch one module, and that you've got a small segment and it's straight to the point. It's like, this is what you need to do. This is how you do it, why you need to do it, that kind of thing. But I'm also, and this is the other thing about content, what is better, video or text? Because a lot of courses that I've been on, people are like it's a PowerPoint, and you can hear the person talking, and sometimes every now and then they might have a little video of themselves hidden in the corner or something like that, but it's mostly a PowerPoint where people are kind of talking through the thing and that. And I find it, and this is just maybe my personality or something, but I find it sort of it's like monotone. It's like, oh no, speak to me. I want to see you, talk to me. And if you need to flip between things, go for it. But I don't want to really see a PowerPoint. Or definitely don't. I had a course the other day. I actually bought it. It was actually a $47 course. And it was just all the modules are text. It's literally pages and pages of text. Now, someone like me who's ADD is like, there's no way that I am actually going to read that. So, I mean, what works better in your experience? Do you think? Is it video? Is it PowerPoint? Is it?
You're not going to like my answer. You're not going to like my answer.
Tell me.
My answer is all of them.
Really? So, what, like a combination of all of them, or how?
A combination of all of them, yeah. Because there's this myth that I'm sure you've heard, that we're all a specific learning type. Like some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners. It's actually a myth. The science behind that study that came up with this myth that everybody has a specific learning type was based on a tiny group. It was like a single classroom of people. Okay. So it's not true that we only have one specific learning type. The truth is we all learn in different ways. We all, and it's helpful to have the content, have a video, have some audio, have a PDF download, have some text on the screen, have some quizzes and assessments and things. We learn in different ways, and reinforcing that knowledge in different types of content is the best way for people to learn. So teach it as a video, talk it through as a video, have an audio file for people to listen to on a commute, for example. It could be the same information, but having that information repeated in a different format, they'll pick things up that they didn't hear in the initial video. And then give them a PDF with the information. Say it can be the same information.
The exact same information, yeah. And it's just...
Exactly.
So basically like an ebook or something along those lines that you're putting with it.
Exactly. Have a screen share video showing them the steps, and then talk them through the steps. And, provide the information in as many different formats as you possibly can. And that's the best kind of content you can provide for your course.
I mean, that's where, a company like yours, like Setup Sidekick, kind of comes into play, because I can honestly not see myself. I mean, I would go and record the video and I would do my screen sharing and showing people how to do everything. But I have no interest in terms of writing an ebook. I mean, I used to have that ebook for my Blueprint, Facebook ads, Blueprint course and that, and I had this long, big ebook and that, and I just eventually dumped it because obviously we do updates, 3-4 times a year. And I was like, I am not retyping this 126 page freaking document. I was like, I just literally can't do it. So Jean says, she hates watching a 30-minute video and then have to look for a specific part. So yes, for me, shorter videos of less than 10 minutes are so much easier to digest. So I mean, that's kind of like the advice that you offer people is it's not just the technique, it's saying, okay, you've got to break this down into smaller pieces, and so there's a lot more.
I'm absolutely that person as well. Don't give me these 2-hour webinars. I'm not interested. I will. And if you don't give me controls so that I can speed up speed up the video, then I'm out. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to bother to listen to your video. So short, snackable videos.
Speed up the video. I must enable that option.
I listen to Gerbil all the time, and guinea pig noises, because I speed it up as fast as I can just to get through it. And if they give me a PDF or some text on a screen for that, like a transcript of the video, I will scan through that rather than listen to a 2-hour long video. So that's where the different types of content helps, because I'm not going to sit through a long video, but some people might enjoy that. So if you give them both options, then you're reaching more people and you're keeping more people happy.
100%. Now, I mean, you deal across the globe, clients from, US to Europe to South Africa to Australia or wherever, you've got clients across the globe. Let's talk about how did you get your first client with Setup Sidekick? Because people are always curious as to that first client is always the hardest one to get, well, in their minds. I mean, in hindsight, you kind of look at, actually, it wasn't that hard, but at that moment, it's like people that are, you got to think of people that are in that position before they got their first client. They're stressing, they're worried, like, where do I get this client that's going to pay me, $2,000 or $4,000 or whatever the cost is to do this stuff? Tell us.
Absolutely. That was the most stressful part for me, because I've always been a behind the scenes person, the person who does the thing. I was not the in front of the,
and you're an introvert too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So and also there's that whole imposter syndrome thing where I can promote your business. I can talk about you, make you sound like the best person on the earth. I cannot do the same for myself. So getting that first client was me pushing myself as hard as I can to get out there. And all it was building relationships. It was talking to people on Facebook, in Facebook groups. And one thing that we're talking about courses that for me, the very best decision I made in my beginning stages of my business was joining B School, Marie Forleo's B School.
Oh, yeah.
Look, it's a $2,000 course. I didn't see that much value in the actual course because a lot of it was marketing that I already knew. Yeah. But it came with the Facebook group of B Schoolers. And that, to me, changed my world, was being able to talk to people who are in exactly the same position as I am, and being able to build those relationships and then eventually sell my services to people. That was how I got my first client, was on a Facebook group, talking to people, sharing my knowledge. Yes, exactly. And I know a lot of people teach this, but it's very, very hard to do because you often feel like, oh, but I'm giving everything away for free. But people will start recognizing your name when it pops up in answer to it, and they start referring you. When somebody asks a question about web design, for example, somebody would refer me and say, Lisa, can you help this person? So just showing up and being the person who comments on everybody's posts is the way I found my first client.
Yeah, a valued responder, I think they tag you as, right?
Yeah,
that's great.
Exactly.
And I think you've hit on an important part there, because I mean, I know I do it. Pretty much all my clients come from, like either Facebook or Instagram and that, through references, through groups, etc. But one important point that you hit on there is, I buy courses for certain individuals that have high number of people that fall within my ideal customer audience, right? And I'll go pay for the course. Like I've just gone and paid like $997 for a course, which I don't need the course. I know the content, but it's giving me access to 80,000 other people that's in a group that are within my ideal customer audience. And sometimes, and I think that's an important lesson for people, watching this, and it's going to be watching the replay, and that is, don't be scared to go and pay for those courses to get access to those groups and become a valued responder. Don't go spam and promote your services and
no
like
DMs,
no DMs. I can guarantee DMs and so. I guarantee you get kicked. What you do is just add value. They'll contact you, and they're quite polite about it, Can I DM you? Can I send you a message to ask you more? Or what's like, yeah, sure, whatever
Absolutely.
the case is. So, I love that.
Look, it's not the fastest way to grow, but it's the most reliable and it's just, it's the most authentic, it doesn't feel like you're selling like a hard sell,
you're having just a discussion with people at the end of the day, and you just.
I like to think of it as when you in the old school days before COVID, when we would go to these network marketing kind of events, meetings with people. It's like being in a really big room of people, and you're just having a conversation over a cocktail, or whatever. So that's how I like to think of it. I'm just talking to this person and helping them out, answering a question for them.
Okay, so we kind of covered how you do marketing and that. So you kind of focus on organic marketing, but let's talk. I want to take a few steps back. You mentioned your previous business, you had partners and that. One of the big questions that we got, so prior to doing all of these interviews, I sent out a quiz to a few thousand people, say, what are the kind of questions you want asked, from people? And one of the questions is what do you think are the biggest challenges of having a partner? That's the question. Because a lot of people are considering, should I have partners and should I do it with my friends or my colleagues, and stuff like that. What's your thoughts around that?
The biggest challenge is starting a business is challenging. So that is the biggest challenge. I mean, it's not much of an answer, but if you're not really in a symbiotic kind of relationship where you get along really well, it's like having all of this added pressure. You're not making money, it's going to either, if you're trying to do this with a friend, it's either going to kill your relationship or make it stronger. It's kind of like having a baby in a marriage.
Yeah.
It can either strengthen the relationship or it can kill it. So just think of it as, this is going to put a lot of stress on my friendship or my relationship or my whatever, and be aware of that and try and negotiate your way around that, because starting a business is hard and it's stressful. So that to me is the biggest challenge. You can work with personalities. That's not an issue. It's realizing that you're going to have all of this extra stress down on top of your head. That's just going to make everything seem 10 times worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
So my tip is just make sure that you're absolutely certain that this is the person you want to work with. And if it is, be aware of the fact that you're going to have all of this stress. So don't be snapping at the person when you're looking at your bank account and thinking, how am I going to pay my rent this month? Because that's going to happen.
Definitely. And I think, what about defining roles and responsibilities? How important is that in partnerships?
Yeah. Luckily for me, with my former colleagues, we all had our own strengths. Like we had a very strong confident salesperson. We had a strategy person, and then we had what I call the two creatives. That was me and one of my other colleagues. So we were the behind the scenes people, and we had two in the front people, which worked out really well, except that we just didn't grow big enough to support all of us. And that's where my previous point came in. We had all of this pressure where one just had a baby, families to feed and whatever. The pressure just got to be too much.
Especially with that many partners, because I mean, that's quite a big amount of revenue that you kind of need to bring in.
Exactly.
Four households.
Whereas for me, myself, I know I only need X amount of money to be able to get by in a month. So I can aim for that amount of money, and I know I'll reach it. So it's not a problem. I'm not worrying about the salesperson that sold the thing, I don't have to pay salaries, basically.
So let's talk technology. How important is technology in running your own business? So I know for your clients, obviously, yes, but in your own business, how important is it?
Yeah. For me, tech is very easy. So I try out all sorts of different things, and I'm not a very consistent person. I'm multi-passionate. So I switch between lots of different things. I get bored using one thing for too often. But one of the biggest things for me was being able to focus properly. When I left corporate, because at corporate, you sit at your desk, you do your thing, you get up and have a cup of coffee or whatever it is. But being at home, there's so many distractions. So one tool that helped me tremendously in the beginning when I started out, I don't use it so much now, but it definitely helped me a lot in the beginning, was a tool called Focus Booster. It uses the Pomodoro technique, which is, it kind of creates a little timed schedule for you to follow. So you can set it for as long as you want. So for me, what I would do is I'd say I work for 55 minutes, then I have a 5-minute break. Then I work for 55 minutes, and I have a 5-minute break. And it forced me to sit in my seat for that 55 minutes and actually do the thing, because there's, stuff happening. I need, want to pop downstairs and have a snack, or there were so many distractions when I first started out at home on my own, and forcing myself to sit there for an hour and then have a quick break and know that break was coming and that I could take that time. It helped me tremendously. It helped me get my tasks done and kind of put a shape to my day. So that's one of the tools. Whereas the other technology, it's changeable. I mean, I work with so many.
You play around a lot. I mean, you play around.
I do.
You test things. Because obviously you need to know so many different ones for the clients.
And often clients will come to me with some obscure WordPress theme that I need to figure out, and then I can figure it out. So for me, tech isn't a thing. So it's not a challenge so I can't share that experience. But find what you're comfortable with, and there are literally thousands of different tools that can teach you the thing that that can do the thing that you need to do. Find the one that suits you. Find the one that suits you price-wise, skills-wise, and whatever it is. You don't have to stick. And that's one thing that really irks me about these course creation gurus, because one of the first questions I get asked by my course clients is, what is the best course platform? There is no best course platform. There's just a best course platform for you. So don't go out and buy Kajabi if you don't know how to use it and you're never going to figure it out. Buy something that's a little smaller and more manageable for you. Or obviously pay me to do it.
There you go. So the whole question is kind of taking a step back. We're going back to I think it's kind of marketing, but a question which is, what is your go-to strategy for launching a course for a first-time course launcher? So Jean is launching her first course. She's created a course and she needs to launch it. What's that first go-to strategy that you would recommend in terms of?
The very first thing I would say for her to do is to create what I call minimal viable course. So it's like a minimal viable product. Create the bare bones, create something small and easy to sell. And once you've sold it the first time, you don't even need to sell it to many people. Sell it to 5-10 people and get their feedback and improve. And then sell it again for a higher price, add some new content or whatever it is. So that's my strategy, is start with something small and doable that you can achieve in whatever time frame you've set for yourself, and then add to it, sell it, do like a launch, a small launch. And launching, you can do Facebook ads, especially if you're going for a lower price point. Don't sell anything high ticket with Facebook ads. You need to have a proper funnel in place to be able to achieve that. But if you're selling something small, and that's what I advise my clients, is start small. Don't start with a $2,000 course. Okay. Start with something that's achievable for both you to create and for you to sell.
How do you get those first clients to the course? But what's the kind of strategy for marketing that kind of stuff?
Yeah, marketing is, for me, is all organic.
Okay. Yeah.
All organic.
100% organic, going into your different groups, etc. Gina, I would add to that, what I kind of like to find the right audiences. I like my email marketing, on that, but I would go and create a quiz or something along those lines, or like these sessions. People that are watching this are entrepreneurs, right? Otherwise they wouldn't be watching this. So people are watching this. I'm collecting the information, which allows me then to retarget them, whether it's through Facebook ads, or whether it's through maybe another quiz, maybe it's a short course intro, like a minimum viable course, or my full course, or whatever the case is. There's a lot of different kind of strategies in terms of that. The big thing is building up, I think, a lead magnet, right? So that you've got
most people start off with that. That's building your email contact list.
Yeah.
And it works, but I would say don't create a freebie, because you're just
not a freebie. Yeah.
Yeah. Create a $5 or a $10 lead magnet, and then promote that. You can promote with Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever it is that you want to use.
I agree 100% with that. I don't like the freebies at all. Okay, because you're going to build an email list fast, right? So you could get 1,000, 2,000 people signing up for that. But you then want to sell these people that are after freebies, your $500 or your $1,000 course. How many of those people are going to buy? Whereas if you start filtering it out and saying, well, you've got here, it's a $47 or $97, entry, into something, like maybe the first 2 modules, or a short, abbreviated course, be like pre-launch course kind of thing. You can kind of filter and see what kind of people are going to come through on that you can upsell them to a bigger course.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, and if you're wanting to sell something quite high ticket, you're going to have to build a funnel. You're going to have something to offer up front as a self-liquidating offer. So that would be like you say, a $27 something. So that covers your ad costs, and then you have those people on your list, and you can sell your bigger ticket items to them. So different strategies.
Yeah,
I'm very against the whole freebie lead magnet thing. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I find that it gets you a lot of rubbish. I did a freebie last year on mine, and I mean, my list grew massively by a few thousand. But that doesn't mean, if I look at how many of those ended up actually buying anything, afterwards, it was less than 1%. It's just not worth it at the end of the day, for the amount of work and stuff that actually goes into that. Rather qualify them properly through whether it's a lead magnet funnel, whatever it is you're going to be using.
Exactly. And that's what that little offer up front does, is it qualifies people, and it's easier to sell to buyers. People who've already forked out money for your thing are more likely to fork out money for your next thing. So, and another tip is to clean up your email list regularly, every 2 to 3 months. Anybody that hasn't opened anything in the last month or whatever, or has only ever opened the one email that from the thing that they bought, get rid of them, because they're not your people.
Yeah, I think
I know it hurts when you have like 2,000 people on your list and you clear out all the ones that have never read your emails. It hurts to delete them, but honestly, it's better for your email deliverability rates and your online reputation. It's way better to clean them regularly.
I agree with that. It's about quality at the end of the day, not quantity. It doesn't help you have a 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 email list when you've only got 5 or 10 customers or 50 customers, at the end of the day. Focus on your niche, focus down on your customer. And it's the same
find
as
your 1,000 fans. That's all you need to worry about.
And that's why, you look at groups that are, small, like even Upstart Secrets and stuff like that, is, it's niche. It's people that are actually interested, clients and things like that. You want to focus on that. Don't try and build these massive lists, because that's, to me, is just a vanity number at the end of the day. What you want is something that's actually going to make an impact, where people have got huge open rates. Like, I look at my email open rates. My email open rate is 62% at the moment, which is not bad at all.
That's good.
So, but it's because I keep cleaning and I filter, and I focus only on those that are reading my stuff, etc. So, I mean, that's a valuable lesson. So, what is the one thing you wish you knew before starting your own business?
I wish I had done it sooner. I fit better into this box than the corporate box. And I had no idea that was even a possibility for me while I was in corporate. So I wish I had done it sooner. And what I wish I had learned before I started the business with my colleagues, I wish I'd started, like I said, I joined B School. Because I learned so much, not from that course, but from the people in that group. So I learned the whole organic marketing thing. I wish I'd learned that sooner, because because I was concentrating on face-to-face people, finding people in my environment to sell my marketing to. And I wish I'd gone online a lot faster.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes 100% sense. So,
and another thing that has really, really, really helped me, and it might help, is finding an accountability buddy, or somebody who's in the exact same position as you. Because if you're not surrounded by other entrepreneurs and you're an entrepreneur, you've got nothing to share with your people. They're not going to understand what you're going through. Find a group of people who are in the same space, and you can talk about your wins and your losses and learn from each other.
So valuable. Yeah, definitely. I
and
think
you
because
don't have to,
it's such a lonely journey, isn't it?
It is absolutely lonely. And for me, what I did is I posted on a couple of groups. I said, look, I'm looking for an accountability partner. This is what I'm doing. If you're in a similar space, let's meet once a week. And we have a Zoom call once a week. And it's actually our anniversary on Friday. I've been doing this now for 1 year. So I've got a little group of people. We meet every Friday afternoon. It's afternoon for me and morning for the US. And we get together and we chat about our week and what we've done and what we're planning to do.
That's so awesome. I've just implemented that into my course, where we now do every Thursday, we do accountability sessions, which whoever's purchased the course can go on and just connect with other people, ask questions. I'm on it as well. But it's really just to hold people accountable. Are you, where are you? What are you doing? Kind of pushing.
And I mean, often
making it
just
so lonely.
And often just saying, I'm going to do this thing this week makes you do it, because you've said you're going to do it. And people are going to ask you, did you do it? They
are going to ask you, because they're going to remember. You're going to okay, well, I got someone kind of watching my back, and I better do this, because otherwise I got to, I don't want to have to think up an excuse at the end of the day.
So now, I mean, my accountability group is now a group of friends. We're still on the same journey. We still share our experiences, but it's moved to a different level. It's become like a personal connection with these people, which is really nice when you're, like you say, lonely, and you're sitting in your own little office on your own, doing your thing. At least you've got people to talk to.
That's fantastic. I really like that. What do you say it takes to be a successful entrepreneur? What's that one thing that it takes to be a successful entrepreneur?
I think being flexible for me, being flexible is very important, because as much as you want to make one thing succeed, it might not succeed. You need to be able to turn and change, to try something out, and try lots of different things, because I mean, for yourself, it's not going to ever be, there's very few unicorns out there who get overnight success, but it's 100%. Usually going to be a lot of trying this thing and then trying that thing. That didn't work, but that worked, so let's try more of that. Okay, no, that didn't work. So it's being flexible for me. Honestly, if you're flexible and you don't get too attached to the outcome on something, you'll succeed. Because, everything is going to change.
Yeah, that brings another question to mind, and kind of also taking a bit of a step back, is we get too close to our own products and services, right? And especially as, you know, someone like myself as a course creator, I look at my course and I'm like, oh, this is kick-ass, man. This is awesome, you know, but that's not necessarily what everyone else thinks. How important is that outside perspective in what you're doing in terms of course creation and stuff? Because I mean, your clients must get upset with you when you look at something and you're kind of like, yeah, this is like meh. You know, it's not great. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's very important to listen to outside opinions, but the right outside opinions, not your mate, not your husband or your wife. People who are in your target audience, listen to their opinions.
That is exactly 100%.
So don't go build this whole course. That's why I like to pitch the minimal viable course, because don't build out this whole big thing and try and sell it and nobody wants it. Start with the minimum viable. Okay, people want it. Great. They've asked for something extra to be added, add that thing and then resell it. So that's also flexible. Being flexible, building this minimal viable thing and adding to it and changing it and updating it and making it better as I go along. Each time I launch, it's a different product. It's a better product. It's a higher price tag. To me, that just makes more sense than building this great big signature course that nobody wants.
I did that in the beginning as well. I created that very first Facebook one of mine. And that, I mean, that was compared to what that is now versus then. I mean, it's like light years apart. I mean, now you've got this massive, you know, total value course. But in the beginning, it was just, you know, key components to kind of, and it was to test. It was literally to test to see, are people finding this valuable? What's the reviews? And I think that's the important thing, was asking the questions after they've done it and while they're doing it, sending them an email or a quiz thing in the course and saying, listen, what do you think of this? How was I as a presenter? You know, how was the content? Did you learn any? You know, those kind of things are so important at the end of the day.
And you need to do it throughout, because if you leave it to the end, a lot of people are not going to bother. So if you're interspersing these little feedback forms in between your course content, throughout your modules and your lessons, and even using quizzes, like quizzes on the content. So, you know, okay, people are grasping this concept, but they're not quite understanding this thing. I need to add something there to help them get that concept. Quizzes are very powerful tools when it comes to course creation.
I actually put that in my course. So at the end of each section, so we've got quite a few sections, and each one's got, well, at the end of each module, and, you know, each module's got multiple lessons in. I've got a knowledge review, which is a quiz. And it was asking questions, you know, like a test almost, like saying, in this scenario, what would you do? And click, you know, based on, and I can see where I kind of making the mistakes. I mean, that's the whole purpose of that, is for me to identify, maybe I didn't explain this properly. You know, I might understand, but remember, I've explained it to thousands of people online, talking, you know, all the time, that I've got this one way of saying it, but maybe I need to find a different way of explaining it so that people understand. So, Jean, for your course as well, I think that, you know, that's also a valuable thing to actually implement that kind of thing. And she says, you know, that was very valuable. Thank you, Lisa. So what's next for you and Setup Sidekick? And I know you're writing an ebook. Tell us a bit about that and tell us what's next for your business.
It's not an ebook, it's an actual book.
Oh, actual book. Okay. Those are rare.
So, the book is more or less done. It's in the editing process at the moment. And what I'm intending to do with the book is I'm going to launch it with a practical hands-on workbook. So people can read the book and then they can fill out their what they want to do within the workbook. So the workbook is kind of part of the book, but it's a separate entity. So you can type in, it helps guide you through the whole course creation process. So you've got checklists of things to do. You've got fields where you fill in what you want your lessons to be about, how to build. So it's basically teaching you how to build a course with the book and the workbook. So you've got book with all the information, workbook with all the practical hands-on stuff that needs to be done. And then, then I'm going to sell it with a couple of videos.
So when are you looking at launching that?
Probably 1st of November. I'm aiming for 1st of November.
That's awesome. Now, where can people find more information about that? Can they just follow you on Facebook or email?
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
something along those lines?
Or get my little freebie workbook to give a taste of what I can do and what you might be able to expect, because I will be, with the book, I'll be giving away free templates of presentation slides and workbooks for courses, similar to the one that I've given away for free today. So yeah, sign up for that. You'll be added to my email list, and then you'll get all the emails when I'm ready to launch the book. That's probably the easiest.
That. So just tell us what it is, and I will share the link with everyone so that people can grab this freebie that you're offering, because I think it's quite awesome.
Okay. Yeah, it's a workbook that I've designed in Canva. So it's a template. So you can take that template and use it for your own course. So you can, I've created a little video, a little instruction video that teaches you how to customize it to suit your course. And then you can use it for your own course. It's quite easy to edit and change and customize and use. Yeah, it's a useful tool.
Access this free workbook that Lisa's got in design, and it's going to help you through this process. Go and access our membership area. It's a free membership area for interviews with entrepreneurs, where you can actually watch all the replays as well. But if you scroll down to the bonuses section, and I am actually going to share my screen quickly just to show you where it is. I'm going to jump in here. So this is our interviews with entrepreneurs membership area. You would have got, when you registered for this webinar, you would have gotten access to register for this. You can actually scroll all the way down to our bonuses section. There's a whole lot of bonuses and stuff. And let me just refresh this here. There, create a beautiful workbook for your course. If you click on that, create a beautiful workbook for your course. You scroll down here and you can actually go and grab this offer directly from Lisa. There you go. You know, listen to that, or watch that quickly, and then just put in your information and grab that free workbook. I think it's really awesome. I think it's one of those little things that it just saves us so much time. You're having to do that. I mean, that's hours of painstaking freaking work at the end of the day. So also, if people want to get in touch with you in terms of maybe interest in terms of Setup Sidekick, using any of your services, they can reach out to you obviously by email. And then as well, guys, again, the email and stuff, if you log into our membership area, and then you'll be able to access Lisa's email, Facebook, Instagram, all of those kind of things. And you can actually follow her website, all of those wonderful things. For those of you that didn't register for the webinar and actually watching live on Facebook, but haven't registered yet, what I'm going to do is in the chat, I'm actually going to quickly paste a link and go register in there. And once you've signed up for interviews with entrepreneurs, you get an option to register for the membership area. Create your own password, and you'll be able to access all the interviews that we've done, as well as book any of our future interviews as we go along, access all the bonuses and that. So Lisa, listen here, thank you so much. It was great listening to your story. And wishing you best of luck out there. I think you're in a great industry, and there's just so much potential there. I think that industry is just going to explode beyond even e-commerce at some stage.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Lisa, thank you very much, and it's been great chatting to you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, cheers. Bye-bye.